Very good. All right. Welcome to another edition of Mindset Profits. At some point in my journey, I came across Tony Robbins and I was inspired by the work that he was doing and realized that if he's saying he studied NLP, then I need to know what this NLP thing is. And I remember I went online to search for the best NLP training school online in South Africa, and I found it. I have the owner, the trainer who has trained me at foundational level, who has trained me at master's level to implement neuro-linguistics programming. Welcome, Deon.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So that's me in short, and that's how I found you, and that's how I found NLP. How did you get started with NLP, and what does it mean for you?
So years ago, originally, before I knew what it was, I used to be a management consultant.
Yeah.
Those years, the term business rescue didn't exist, but that's actually what I did. I would manage other people's businesses for them. And I was looking for more tools. There was something lacking, there was something missing. Very much about what I missed was how do you inspire people? How do you get people to not just dream about a success, but move from thinking, dreaming to doing?
Thinking, dreaming to doing, okay?
That was my search. And I found a variety of different things, and I tested everything and played with it. Then I found NLP. And I remember sitting in my house, in my dining room, behind my computer, reading a process. I did it on myself. And I went,
You did a process on yourself?
I did it on myself. And I went, what just happened? Something happened. I need to know more. And then I started studying. And very quickly, I knew this is my life. This is where I'm going. And I stopped doing consulting. I stopped doing management. I studied to become a trainer and started the training company. That's 2008 already.
It's a long time ago.
And that's what I've been doing, and that's my love, my life, my passion. I eat, sleep, breathe NLP. And I think the reason I enjoy it, if you look at what is NLP in essence, it's not a field, it's not a science, it's a collection of many things that work, that helps us understand ourselves better as humans. If you buy a new laptop, there's a manual. How do you use it? The human brain is the most complex piece of technology the world has ever seen. But I've never seen a baby get born with a user manual in their hand. We battle to try and just figure out stuff as we go along in this life.
Yeah.
NLP is the closest thing I could find to a user manual of the mind. It helps us be better versions of ourselves. That's a simple component.
That's a nice definition of it. I heard Bendler define it at some point, and I like that take as well. I want to hear your thoughts on it. He said something like NLP is the study of success and the thinking and behavior that creates that success.
So, yes. So the concept behind NLP is to separate the brain in mainly two components.
Yeah.
Conscious brain, that's the logic one. That's the critical brain. That's the brain that when we're talking now, I can look at you, I can see your nice brain, it's shirt, Mindset Profits podcast.
Looking good.
Looking good, man. Looking smooth. I can see that with my conscious brain, there's an awareness about it.
Yeah.
But there's a different part to the brain, which is the subconscious. So when I look at that, I know you, I see your smile, that creates a feeling in me, that creates an emotion, that creates an internal reaction, that creates a different shape of my own perception and reality. That's the subconscious mind. So NLP is an area where we understand the difference between the conscious and the subconscious. Which part of the brain does what? And how do we use the different parts to become successful? And becoming successful means taking action and doing things that work. So it's that journey. So what Richard Bandler said there was a short definition, mine is the longer one. But that's the element behind it. So for entrepreneurs, Profit Podcast,
yeah,
the mindset is vital. It's critical to understand.
It is.
The problem is there's a lot of people that talk a lot of nonsense out there. And young entrepreneurs listen to a lot of this stuff, and they're still stuck, and they're not moving forward, and they're not making money, and they're not getting success, and it's confusing.
I can't not ask about this. If you're saying there's a lot of nonsense going out there, do you have examples? Because someone might be receiving it and feeling like this is gospel truth.
So I can tell you the biggest problem. Now,
Okay.
if you're an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
so what does an entrepreneur do? Well, an entrepreneur gets an idea, and then they dream about what's going to happen when that idea is successful. Let's take a simple example. Let's say you get an idea. I'm just trying to think of a business idea quickly. I'm going to do advertising. I'm going to, in parking areas, I'm going to put signs in front of every parking space. I'm going to sell that space.
That space.
All right. That's an entrepreneurial, typical business idea. So what does the entrepreneur brain do? Well, firstly, they do an Excel spreadsheet where they do a whole calculation of how much money they're going to make. If this happens, then I'm going to make... Now they're going to see the money. The second thing that happens, they start daydreaming about the success. Ooh, I'm going to build this house. I'm going to buy a 20 million rand house with a pool and a view. I'm going to drive a Porsche. Oh, my life is going to be amazing. Now they go into that dream space of the achievement, which is good because it's inspirational.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Your subconscious mind doesn't know what's real and what's not real. So when you watch a movie, you watch movies, don't you?
Horror movies as well.
Well, let me ask you this question. Have you ever cried in a movie?
I have.
You have. Why?
It's
you
not
knew
a
it was an
confession.
actor.
This part shouldn't be recorded.
We're emotional creatures. So we watch a movie and we cry. Why? Because your subconscious mind doesn't know it's a movie. It only experiences things in the moment as if it is real. Now here's the thing, and this is where the mindset of the entrepreneur makes a mistake.
Yeah.
We dream about the house and the car. So the subconscious mind experiences it. It feels happy. It feels satisfied. It feels as if it's achieved. Because I'm dreaming about it, I'm experiencing it. So whose brain is it? It's my own brain. So my own brain goes, I'm happy, I've achieved, I've got this. So why should I work hard? Why should I get up early? Why should I put in a huge amount of energy and effort? So what the brain then does, it says, well, I need to take the trash out. Let me go do that quickly. I need to buy a new computer. Oh yes, that's nice. We start procrastinating. We find a whole variety of little things that doesn't take us to that actual goal, that doesn't take us to that vision. And we get sidetracked into hundreds of
other
things. So what is it that people put out there that's the wrong thing? They tell entrepreneurs, if you can dream it, you can achieve it.
I was going to go
In
there.
essence, it's not wrong, but there's more truth behind that they don't explain. So the guys dream about the fancy house and the car, and they see their signage in every parking area. That does not make you achieve it. That's the one statement. The second one is, you must be a visionary. And the guys visualize the end result. Again, that's just like watching a movie. Doesn't make it real. Doesn't make it real. In fact, it tells your deep subconscious, you've got it. Remember, the deep subconscious doesn't differentiate between a daydream and reality, between a movie and what's factual. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're dreaming about all the money you're going to make, what are you telling your brain? You're telling your brain you've already achieved it. So why would you have dopamine kick in that wakes you up early, that puts in energy, that makes you actually work hard to achieve it? there's no reason for the brain or the body to do it. So you're an entrepreneur for years, you don't achieve success, you don't make money. Now the brain goes, something's wrong with me.
And that's where discouragement kicks in.
Well, if you're going to say something's wrong with me, and you say that to your subconscious brain, it's your brain, your subconscious brain is going to say, yes, let me show you what's wrong with you. And it'll remind you of a couple of things. Now people get despondent, now they get depressed, now they get demotivated, and now they say, I don't know what's wrong with me, I can't make it. I'm clearly not an entrepreneur. Let me go work behind a till again and live in poverty. They don't grasp the fullness of it. And that's the problem with the mindset of entrepreneurs. They dream too much.
What's the advice? How does an entrepreneur change that though? Because at some level, you do want to get excited about what you're working towards.
Absolutely.
So you do need to have that dream. How do you change it so that it's still at a healthy level and you're not dreaming to the point of self-destruction?
So the brain functions at its best when we are in the current mental brain time frame for the brain.
Okay.
So the current mental time frame for the brain is a 2-week window, a week into your past and a week into your future. Some people can push even up to 2 weeks. So you can test it quickly. So we know what today is. Your brain can kind of think about what's going to happen next week, what's going to happen early next week up until the middle, and maybe even a week and a half into your future. For the human brain, that's in your reality time frame. Anything outside of that, a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, becomes what I call la la land thoughts. It's so far into our future, it's not part of our immediate reality or our urgency. So the secret of a successful mindset is to have the dreams, but have that dream locked in for an achievement in the next 2 weeks. So what is that thing as an entrepreneur that if you put in energy, effort, take action, what can you make happen within 2 weeks?
Okay.
Week to 2 weeks.
So
now
there's the big dream and then there's the activities that you break it down.
The big dream is not actually the dream. The big dream is the result of the goal. Having a big house, having a fancy car, that's not a goal. That's a result of a successful goal.
Yeah.
A successful goal does not live in the future. A successful goal lives in the current reality. Because whatever is too far in the future is a dream. What is in the current reality is a goal.
Okay.
There's a difference.
I see the difference now.
So a successful entrepreneur can tell you what he's going to do over the next week to 2 weeks that's going to move him towards the outcome of the goal. Now, a really successful entrepreneur has got that broken down in 2 weeks for the next 3 years. You can open his calendar and say, these 2 weeks, this is what's going to happen. Those 2 weeks, that's going to happen. Because as the mind moves from the first window frame of 2 weeks into the next window frame of 2 weeks, the mind stays in the current reality of that 2 week window frame.
So a test for an entrepreneur, if an entrepreneur listens to you saying this and says, I want to check where I am at with this, they need to go look at their calendar and how they've structured it.
Build that strategy. Build a strategy so that you've got something that you're going to achieve every single 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's got to be achievable, but it's also got to push you a little bit. Break it down. There's an old saying, how do you eat an elephant?
One piece at a time.
One bit at a time. How do you actually get to your end goal of true success, of really making that dream manifest? Not by looking at the dream. If you come across an elephant and someone says, eat it, what are you going to do? You're going to go, what? No ways, it's too big. Because you're looking at the elephant. But if someone takes a piece of steak and puts it on your plate, what are you looking at? An achievable.
So that's the breaking it down.
That's the breaking it down. Break it down, but you've got to break it down in the 2-week window frame. Because as you enter those 2 weeks, that mindset becomes current reality. Past is not current reality. Too far in the future is not current reality. 2-week window frame is current reality. Great entrepreneurs operate in current reality.
And they know what they're going to be doing that will get them there.
Everything is a step towards getting to where you want to go.
Beautiful. We're shooting this in March, and one thing that happens throughout, I think worldwide, is people set New Year's resolutions and goals. And by round about this time, many have given up on them. I was talking to a few people yesterday on radio. There are many that had actually forgotten what those resolutions are. And we're only in March. What do you have to say to that process, first of all, and to people who will reflect on why they've forgotten about their resolutions and feel discouraged?
So the first problem usually with New Year's resolutions is they're not written down.
Okay.
They're not named and they're not written down. So when you name something, you give it life. You give it character, you give it personality. So firstly, you've got to name it. Second thing is you've got to write it down. Now, the reason you've got to write it down is a couple of reasons. Most people, when it comes to the end of the year and it's time for New Year's resolutions, they start thinking about what do I want to do next year? Next year. And they come up with these thoughts. Now, thoughts are frivolous. Thoughts are fast. They come and they go. You can sometimes, we've been in conversation sometimes with someone, and halfway through the conversation you go, what are we talking about again? Thought just drifted. That's how the brain works. So now people have these New Year's resolutions. They go, well, next year I'm going to lose 20 kilos. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to buy a new car. I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. Out of the brain. Gone. A week, 2 weeks later, we forget. When you write them down, you've got something to refer to. That's the first thing. There's a reminder. I've written it down. That's the one reason. The second reason is for your brain to write something down, it needs to think about it differently. So a lot of people with New Year's resolutions go, I'm going to be fitter. And what they would think or see when they think about that is they see the ripped body. I'm going to be fitter. I want to be there.
I'm going to look like that in a year.
But when you write it down, what are you going to write down? I'm going to look like a Greek god in 3 weeks. What are you going to write down? That's not going to work. So you've got to write down something practical, what you're going to do. I will go to the gym 4 times a week. Oh, but that's not the New Year's resolution. That's a dream. This is action.
I see the switch.
Yeah? So you force yourself to think differently when you write things down. When we dream of the outcome. When we write things down, we write down how we're going to achieve that dream. And that's the difference. So you want to achieve a New Year's resolution next year? Write it down and then ask yourself, does this explain how I'm going to make it happen? If that's not on there, tear up the paper, throw it away, wait for the next year. Because it ain't going to happen that year. Easy.
All right, so what about that feeling of discouragement? There are many people right now, it might not even be about New Year's resolutions. It could be entrepreneurs that are feeling like, when I look at other entrepreneurs and when I look at other people, I feel like I'm behind in life. Maybe I'm 30, and where I am financially, I feel like I'm 20. Because every other one of my peers seems to have progressed and I'm not progressing, and there's that sense of discouragement. With New Year's resolutions, it's feeling like, I've done nothing about them. And I think partly you answered the cause, but that discouragement.
There's a concept that I teach in the course. You've done the course.
Yeah.
There's a concept I teach that, and the concept is quite simple. There's no failure, there's only feedback.
That's a beautiful concept.
So a lot of entrepreneurs, because they are not succeeding their dreams fast enough, their brains tell them, you're a failure. You failed at this, you failed at that, you failed at that. Now, the challenge with our brain is, if my brain has a concept where it thinks, Deon, you're a failure, my subconscious wants to prove it.
Prove it.
So what will it do? It'll find a couple of things in my memory of where I've been a failure. But here's the thing. What most people don't grasp. Failure is a man-made concept. Humans are not born in understanding failure. The only way we understand failure is someone needs to teach us what failure is. And I'll prove this to you. Take a baby that gets born. Have you got children? Are they walking already?
Yep.
Do you remember when they started walking? How many times did they fall? Did they not succeed? Hundreds, if not thousands.
Yeah.
So just pause on that. Why did that baby not stop trying? Because they failed 1,000 times. Why did their brains not go, well, these big things around me can walk, I can't, clearly I'm a failure. Look at them, they're successful. Look at me, I'm not.
Look at other kids.
I must be a failure. Look at other kids. They're walking, I'm not, I must be a failure. Why does that concept not enter that baby's brain? Because no one taught them yet. Every time that baby falls, that's not failure. That's information. That's feedback. That's, that didn't give me the results I was looking for. Let me try something else. Let me do it this way. Let me move the leg that way. And they keep doing that until what happens? Until they walk.
Until they jog.
Until they talk. I love asking people this question. What's the first word your firstborn said?
Would be Dada or Mama.
No.
What?
That's the first word you understood. The first word they said was but what happened was they realized
really got me.
they realized these grown-ups, these adults that's supposed to feed me, they're not understanding what I'm saying. That was failure in our grown-up language. They failed to communicate. But they were persistent in doing it over and over again until, he's hungry. All right, here we go, let's feed him. Until they get what they want, they keep trying and changing. The concept of failure is only taught from roughly the age between 3 to about 7 years old. Does most children get taught? And who teaches them?
Us, adults.
We teach them. If you teach, think about this quickly. If you try and convince someone else that they're a failure,
if you try,
what is your motivation to do that?
If I'm thinking off the cuff, I think some people do that because they've quit on their goals and they want to resonate with the people around them.
I can't rise up, so let me push you down.
Let's all be the same.
That's one reason. Second reason, if I can convince you that you're a failure, I've got control over you.
That's worse.
Failure is the concept in the world that suppresses mankind's ability the most. There is no failure, there's feedback. So what is feedback? Feedback simply means the following. I've done something. I did not get the results I was hoping for. Therefore, I need to change something. That's it. Young entrepreneurs, don't compare yourself with others, because then you're going into failure mode. Look at what you have done, what results you were hoping for, and then ask a simple question. What can I do differently? What else is there? What alternatives are there? What options? What other opportunities? Einstein said this. He says, if you enter a problem with the same mindset that created it, you will not solve it.
You have no chance of solving it, yeah.
The only way we solve something, the only way we grow, the only way we develop, the only way we become successful, the only way we achieve, is by looking at what we have done and learning from it.
So this means every entrepreneur needs to get on a path of personal development and self-mastery.
Self-awareness is the first step in self-mastery. Self-awareness means become aware of your own thoughts, become aware of your own emotions, become aware of your own reactions, your responses, become aware of your habitual behaviors, and ask yourself a simple question. Does it serve me? Is this taking me on the journey to where I want to go? If the answer is no, then change. We all change. I've never met a person that is exactly the same way. They don't look the same, they don't speak the same, they don't walk the same, dress the same, think the same, behave the same than what they did 10 years ago. Do you? No.
No one.
The one concept about human beings is we're constantly changing. But we've got two ways of changing. We can either let external forces, society, our disappointments, our failures, or whatever the case may be, create that change, or we can look at who we are, become self-aware, and ask ourselves, how would I want to be? What do I need to change to? I can either be influenced from the outside, or I can be guided from the inside.
True. And when it's guided from the inside, at least you have more control on the direction.
Well, then you become the captain of your own ship.
Beautiful.
I mean, look at our country at the moment. Now, without being critical, our economy is not doing the best.
True.
Let's be honest about that. But what is amazing, there's a lot of people that are complaining about the economy. But there's also a group of people that's making lots of money during the current economy. What's the difference between the two? Well, those that are complaining are the ones that's looking at what can possibly go wrong, what they failed at, what's wrong here, what's wrong there, what's wrong there, what's wrong there. So where are you looking the whole time? You're looking at what's wrong, so what are you going to talk about what's wrong? If you don't get something right, what's your excuse going to be? Well, things are wrong. But then there's people that's making money. So ask a simple question. Where are they looking and what are they talking about? They're not looking at what's wrong, they're looking at what could be right. They're not looking at what they can't do, they're looking at what they possibly could do.
Under the circumstances.
Under those circumstances. And you know what's interesting? There are people that's making money in a bad economy that will not be able to make the same money when the economy is good. But because they have got true entrepreneur's brain and they're constantly looking at opportunities and possibilities, and they're constantly quite aware of themselves and how they're developing and how they're not developing, when the economy shifts, their business will also shift accordingly.
True. That's good. What do you think is the difference in mindset between a successful entrepreneur's mindset and entrepreneurs that don't succeed?
An entrepreneur that is successful has got a mindset of very little ego.
Okay.
Most successful, if you look at the most successful people around the world, entrepreneurs, people that have started from nothing and built their own worlds, they don't really have a massive need to impress other people. Their fun thing in life is not to drive the fancy cars and the fancy houses. It's to be a successful entrepreneur. They enjoy the work.
Okay.
There's a guy
So
that
I have
I
a question on that.
There's a guy that I admire, and I'm going to give you an example.
Yeah.
I love reading and watching Richard Branson. You know who Richard Branson is?
Yeah, I'm sure he's one of the most popular.
Mr. Virgin. Virgin Gyms, Virgin Airlines, all this stuff. I think he's so rich that if he opens his bank app, at no stage is that number going to be stagnant. That number is going to change the whole time. I don't think he knows how much money he's got.
He probably doesn't.
But he still wakes up on a Monday morning and he goes to work. He's still creating new companies. He's still changing the world. Why?
Loves the work.
He can buy every fancy house he wants. He can buy every fancy car he wants. He's got all those things that most entrepreneurs aspire to, but he still works extremely hard. The answer is because he loves the work.
And that's the secret.
You want to be a great entrepreneur? Love the work.
When you look at your experience working with people in corporate and entrepreneurs, why do you think, even if I'm in a business that I love or I'm in a job that I like and I've got a vision that does inspire me, why do you think most people don't give their best still? Because that argument is there for a lot of people. There are a lot of people that are in careers that they actually can confess that they enjoy, or they run businesses that they like, but they will tell you that I'm not doing my best. I'm not giving my best. Why do you think that is?
Very simple answer. Human beings are only born with one single fear.
Okay.
The fear of the unknown. That gets translated into the fear of the dark, fear of falling, fear of public speaking, all of these things. But you really go and analyze it, there's fear because we don't know what's going to happen. It's the fear of the unknown. Now, let's assume you're in a job that you enjoy. And you're doing quite well. And you've reached the peak of your life, of your career, which means you're at this level.
Yeah.
If you put in energy and effort, dedication, focus, everything else, you can take your life to that level. But here's the truth. You've never been here.
Mm-hmm. So it's an unknown to you.
It's an unknown. I hope that penny has dropped for some of you guys.
It's dropping, but for me in a scary way, because I'm also thinking of people that are, I don't know how to put this, quiet desperation, where life is painful, life is hard, but they're still not doing the things to move to that next bracket.
Because they've not experienced it, they don't know what it's like. So I'll give you a practical example. There are entrepreneurs in this world, and there's a lot of them that get rich. And everybody probably knows someone like that. Where, let's say the guy built a business and he's made a couple of million. Something happens, and he loses everything. Boom, right down, rock bottom.
That's been me at some point.
But have you also noticed that most of those guys get back up to that level again very quickly?
True.
Why? Because they know what it's like. So they know what it takes. They know that they're capable of. They know, not hope, not wish for. They know what they're capable of. So it's very easy to get back to that level. But to raise that bar, that level of greatness is an unknown. It's an unknown. So we don't know what it's going to feel like being there. So what do? We reserve, we hold back. It's literally like driving the fastest car in the world, but you keep the handbrake up because you're scared it's going to go too fast.
And that's many people.
And that is many people. And the reason we like that is because our society, and especially in Africa, our culture says, be humble.
Ubuntu.
Be grateful, be humble. Don't show off too much, be humble. The problem with that is, We're trying to not intimidate other people around us with our greatness by being humble. But what we are doing, we are also robbing ourselves of allowing our minds to go where it can go. We are not allowing ourselves to become that amazing, phenomenal version of ourselves that we can grow to. Now, the challenge is a lot of people think, okay, I'm here, that's where I want to be. And what they see is they see the gap between these two. That gap is scary. And remember what I said earlier, the brain can't jump from here to there. We don't have that imagination. Plan the journey properly, step by step.
So that's how you change it.
Bite by bite, bits by bit. I'll give you another example. Let me give you a different perspective. Let's imagine you just learn to walk and climb and move.
Yeah.
And for the very first time, there's a wall in front of you, and but the wall's only 1 brick high. Just 1 brick. What is your challenge that you've now got?
To get over it or around it.
Well, let's say there's only one way that you have to get over it. So what does your brain need to do? It needs to figure out a way to get over it.
True.
Okay. Now you get to the next wall, and that wall's 2 bricks high. What's your challenge?
Still to figure out how to get over that one.
See, now most people think they need to figure out how to get over a wall of 2 bricks. You don't. Your brain knows how to get over a wall with 1 brick.
Okay.
All you need to do is to get over another extra brick. It's 1 brick only. Imagine that pattern continues. You get to a wall where there's 9 bricks. What's your challenge? Is your challenge 9 bricks?
You figured out how to get past 8, so you only have to deal with the next one that came up.
There we go. That's one of the difference. So most people say,
saying
I've done 8, 10 is there, I can't do 10. 12 is there, I can't do 12. No, go from 8 to 9. 9 to 10. From 10 to 11. From 11 to 12. Don't look at the wall. Don't look at the big wall there. Look at the 1 extra brick right in front of you. And all you need to do is just go
conquer that.
Get over that one. Once you've done that, look at the next wall. 1 extra brick, just conquer that extra one. Once you've done that, look at the next wall. Just 1 extra brick, conquer that one. Progression. Progression.
What if, so when I'm looking at that, confidence and belief is building as I'm conquering 1 brick after the next. Would you say that applies for entrepreneurs as well? As I'm moving from 1 million to 2 million to 3 million, I'm building some degree of confidence.
Can I make a statement that most
Please.
entrepreneurs are not going to like too much?
Okay, go ahead.
The one absolute fallacy about entrepreneurship
Yeah.
is you don't need confidence nor motivation.
Interesting. That
What you
makes me
need-
curious.
What you need is desire and courage.
Okay, explain. Sounds right now, but I still want to hear.
Confidence and motivation are temporary emotional states. They're temporary. It's not a consistent state. Every emotional state has a rise, a peak, and then it drops down to a valley. And then it rises and it drops down. So motivation and confidence are temporary states that peak and drop. They do not create a consistent.
Okay.
Number 1. Number 2, it's merely a feeling. It's just an emotion. It doesn't make you do things. It makes you think you can, hope you can, and dream about what if you do. But it doesn't actually make you do something. What makes you do something? Passion and courage. Passion says, this is what I am going to do. Courage says, in the midst of not being sure if it's going to work, fear of the outcome, feeling like I'm an imposter, taking a bit of a well-calculated risk inside of the storm that's happening around me, I'm still doing it. I'm still taking action. That's what an entrepreneur needs.
Okay.
Once they've done something, now they're going to feel motivated, and now they're going to feel confident. I've done it. That's what the thing that people don't realize. If you believe confidence and motivation is a prerequisite for greatness, you're missing the point. It's a result of greatness.
Okay, interesting. Why I was asking, there's something you said earlier about kids not understanding how to process failure until they are taught.
Yes.
And I'm looking at a child that's been in an environment that's toxic enough to absolutely teach them that they're a failure as they grow up. And now they're an adult and struggling to function because self-esteem is low, confidence is not there. And I'm looking at how to help someone who is in that state.
I think the first thing we need to realize is that for many years, psychology and people believed that in the first 7 years of our lives, the blueprint of our future is created. So it's almost like something gets engraved in your DNA. First 7 years of your life, that's who you're going to become. One of the old, we're going back thousands of years, one of the old historians once said, "Give me a boy from birth to 7 and I will show you the man." And a lot of people grab onto that and said, well, in the first 7 years of our lives, our future gets shaped. So there is some truth in it. So if you grow up in a household where there's a lot of poverty, where there's no financial stability, that is your undercurrent understanding about finances and money. So there's a high probability that as you grow older, that might still be your undercurrent. However, human beings are created magnificent in the sense that we grow, we develop, we change. We are constantly going through a metamorphosis, a shift. We think differently, we learn things, we develop, we grow, we understand. Anybody that's in a scenario where they look at themselves, they become self-aware and with low self-esteem, I'm not sure I can do things, I'm not sure that I can, want to, what will happen if that, etc. Just understand one thing. You are created unique, you are created magnificent. How many people have lived before you on this earth? Before you were born? How many billions?
Can't even count.
How many people are on the planet at the moment? I think it's 7 point something, do you know?
Billions, yeah.
Billions. How many people are going to come after us?
Probably the same.
There has never been, not is at the moment, and never will be another human being with your retina and your fingerprint. You are exquisitely unique. Now here's the problem people have, and this is why I don't understand low self-esteem. You are the best version of you.
At any point.
At any point.
What if I'm not happy?
Because you are the
what
only.
if I'm not happy with
You are the
this?
only version of you.
What if I'm not happy with the vision of maybe I'm overweight, maybe I've got stuff that I don't like about my character.
Whose life is it?
Mine.
So change. You don't like something in your life? You're not cast in stone. You're not a tree that's planted. Move. That's the beauty. And I said this over and over. Human beings got the ability to change. We are the architects of our own destiny. If we make a decision, I'm not happy with this, then change it. There's only 3 choices we have in this world. If someone comes to me and says, Deon, I'm not happy, I'm being influenced, I'm being controlled by others, I'm not in charge of my own life. You've got 1 of 3 choices. 1 of 3. Number 1, you can make a decision and decide to accept it. If you do decide to accept it, you also waive the right to complain about it. So zip the lip and stop moaning about it and accept it. Acceptance means, that's it, I'm taking this, no problem. But if you don't want to accept it, let's take Let's take someone that's in a relationship with a toxic person, maybe an abusive person. You know, my husband is so terrible, my wife is so bad, and they complain.
True.
But sometimes they stay in the relationship. And they're complaining. Well, are you in the relationship because you've accepted the conditions of the relationship? If you have, stop complaining. You've waived that right because you've accepted. That's the one option. Option 2, change. Change what? If it's in a relationship, set boundaries. Change your reactions, your responses, your behaviors.
Change something.
Change something. If you're in a career, you hate your job, you're not getting paid enough, well, stop complaining or change. Go study something extra, work harder, put in effort, prove to the people that needs to promote you or pay you more that you're worth more. Do something. Change. Third option, if you don't want to change, I don't want to accept, Deon. No, I don't want to change either, I'm too lazy. Well, then leave. I don't like this relationship, then leave. I don't like this job, resign. Being an entrepreneur is tough. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, you're either going to accept that it's hard work and it's tough, or you're going to change, or you're going to leave. That's the 3 options. That's the only way we can take back control of our own destiny. If you can't make one of those 3 choices, you're a victim. And if you're a victim, it means someone or something is your master, is controlling you. Is it the economy? Is it your limiting beliefs about yourself? Is it your friendship group that's telling you your idea is rubbish? Is it stuff you read? What is it that controls the way you think? And if you don't like the way you think, and you don't like the results of it, change the way you think.
Beautiful. Well, I'm thinking about this for entrepreneurs as well, and asking the question, what if I have a team that I'm not happy with?
Accept, change, or leave.
The limitation with 1 or 2 of them is, even if I want to, well, let's look at the leave part. There's the CCMA. So the leave component has challenges of its own there. Because in this case, if it's my business, I'm not leaving, I'm making the team member leave.
What was the choice before leave?
Change. So you move to that.
Let me ask you a question. You're a parent.
Yeah.
Are there naughty children in this world?
And you can't leave your kids.
Are there naughty children?
Yeah, many.
Is it their fault or the parents?
That's a tricky one for me. Doesn't it apply?
A typical brat. Let's talk about a typical brat.
Doesn't it apply both ways though?
I don't know.
Because I've seen parents that I think they tried their best.
Did they? See, that's the worst excuse we give ourselves. I tried my best. That's the worst excuse.
There's some that have though.
I wanna let me show you the word try. Can I show you what the word try means?
Yeah.
Will you do me a favor? Will you try and stand up, please?
I will stand up.
Try and stand up. Try is a swear word.
Okay.
I don't know what that word means, but I'll give you my definition of it. Try means I'm saying something which I don't believe, and I'm giving myself permission not to do it in the future. I'm going to try and be a good husband. No, you're not. You're lying. 6 months later, you're going to say, I tried. You never changed. The word try in our vocabulary says, I am not committed to this. I'm giving myself permission to fail in the future. You either stand up or you sit down. There's no trying. When people say, yeah, but they probably tried to be good, great parents. No, they were either good, great parents or they were not. There is no middle ground. There are no brat children. There are bad parenting. Children are a result of their upbringing. Yes, there's the 2% psychotics. That's the exception to the rule. Children are a result of their upbringing. Do you agree with that?
True.
Employees are a result of the management.
Okay.
I've got this team, they're not performing. Change. Change what? Change your management style. Change the way you influence them. Change the way you inspire them. Change the incentive process. Change your standard operating procedures. Change your performance indicators. Change your management style.
Okay.
Because that same
that.
person that you say is not a valuable employee, I guarantee you, they can move to a different company, to a different position with a different manager, with a different leader, and they'll become a star. We've seen the reverse happen as well. We've seen people in this organization is a star, and he goes to another organization, similar position, and then they just fall flat. Same
Makes
person,
sense.
same person,
Different environment.
different environment, different leadership.
Do I need NLP if I'm not going to be a coach? And if so, who do I have to be and how would I access you?
I'll answer the question this way. So on the courses we do, at least 50% of the people that come on those courses don't come because they want to become coaches. They come for self-development. They come for the user manual of the mind. So one of the principles is, and it's quite simple, I would like to give you some water, but my own glass is empty. Can I give you some water?
Definitely not.
So how can I give you water?
I have to fill my cup.
It doesn't matter what I want to do. If I want to be a better version of me, my glass needs to be full. If I want to help you, my glass needs to be full. If I want to take a long journey, my glass needs to be full.
That's everyone.
Well, the question is, do you want a full glass? Do you want a better quality of life? Do you want to realize that there is a potential better version of you that can be happier, have a more blissful, enjoyable, zestful life? That's the question you need to ask. Do I want to be that person? If the answer is yes, well, there is options. There is possibilities available. If the answer is no, cool. Full permission. Stay the way you are if you're happy with
Accept
that.
and stay where you are.
We've got that right. We've got that right.
Take us through the courses that you offer at Action Factory and how someone who is interested, who heard you today and is interested to be a part of it.
I think the first thing you need to do is obviously go to our website, which is probably the easiest.
Yeah.
And that is actionfactory.co.za. So on there you'll see all the courses we have. But our main flagship course is a dual course. So I've taken, originally when I entered this industry, I looked at life coaching and I looked at NLP. And I said, everybody's training these two separately. And it didn't work for me. And I'll explain why. So life coaching deals and focuses on the logic, the conscious brain, the analytical brain. Where NLP deals with the subconscious brain. It deals with our reactions, our responses, our beliefs, our values, our behaviors, the way we take feedback, our perception of reality. Now, you can, on a logic level, have the best strategy in the world to achieve something. But if in your subconscious you've got a limiting belief or a behavior that creates an obstacle,
True.
you're not going to achieve it. But if you have no obstacles here, but you don't have a plan either, then you're not going to achieve either. So from my perspective, I said, no, they need to work together. So I built a course. Originally it took me 21 days to teach it. I became a better trainer, so I've reduced the time frame. So now we start the course on a Saturday. We go Saturday full day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the reason we do that is 2 weekends, but then there's 5 days in the week where students need to attend. So people don't have to take so much leave. So that's our flagship product. And that's the one where we guarantee 2 things. Number 1, you will learn. And number 2, you will change. You cannot do that program fully committed, come out the other side, same way you were when you entered. It's just not possible.
True.
It's just not possible. Because your mind reframes. You learn to think differently. And thinking differently is the best gift you can give yourself. So that's our flagship program. If you want, you can get certification. You can do the practical assignments and you get certified.
To be a coach.
Then you're a qualified life coach and you're a qualified NLP practitioner. You can go for international accreditation and all kinds of things from there. But that's the main product that we've got.
Do you know how many coaches you've certified?
No.
It's in the thousands.
I think we're probably over a couple of thousand, definitely over 3,000 by now. I've been doing this full time since 2008. And the flagship product, the main product, that course I run every single month. Every month. If we don't, the groups get too large, and then you lose that interpersonal connection. You don't want to sit with 200 people in a course. That's just then you lose some of the people. So I run that course every single month, just to keep the group small, keep the contact personal, keep it real, because it's interactive.
I know. It's like,
and that's the important part. So
and the other.
Yeah, so in 15 years, on average, anything between 10 to 50 people on a course every single month.
Okay.
I don't really know how many people. I know we try to count.
Other coaches, are there people that come for the other courses outside of life coaching?
If people want to do specialist direction, so the main course is the fundamental. That's the foundation.
Yeah.
After that, there's a couple of, I can maybe create a niche in, I want to become a youth coach, or I want to become a relationship coach, or I want to become a sales coach, or I want to become an executive coach. Then you can do, if you want to, niche specialist directions, but you don't need them. The main course contains all the information required. The niche courses just makes you better in that particular field. But you don't need it. In other words, if you've done the main course, you can do relationship coaching. But if you really want to become a true master at relationship coaching, then you can do a specialist relationship course. But it's not a requirement.
I think the last question from me, it's a question that someone asked and I was waiting for this day. Where does hypnotherapy come into this picture? And the reason they were asking was because it's something that's scary to them.
So in the early days of NLP, NLP and hypnotherapy was seen as one concept to a certain extent. And the reason is because hypnotherapy deals with the subconscious and so does NLP. The main difference between the two is with hypnotherapy, you deliberately put a person into a certain trance state. With NLP, you don't. It's just a conversational and some processes. But the thing most people don't realize about hypnotherapy is, let's reframe this. The problem with hypnotherapy is people watch too much TV and movies. And they see what the guys do on the movies. So there's no way.
Hypnotize someone to go and rob a bank, for example. That's in the
absolute
movie.
Rubbish. One human cannot override another human's will. So if you're a party animal, let's say you're a party animal. Every Friday, you go to the club, you get drunk, you dance on the tables, you take your clothes off, you throw it all over the place, and you sing the national anthem. Let's say that's something that in your value system has got a tick box.
Okay.
Then I can hypnotize you to do it. But let's assume your value system says, no, I don't do that. There's no ways anyone can hypnotize you to do it. We cannot override the human will. Not possible, number one. Number two, no one hypnotizes someone else in reality.
What do you mean?
I cannot hypnotize you, I cannot hypnotize anybody else.
I've seen you do it.
No, what you've seen is me create an environment, a situation, where someone else goes into a hypnotic trance willingly, on their own. I have got, How does one person actually influence another person's mind? You can't. I can't make decisions on your behalf.
Okay.
But I can create an environment and I can talk to you in a way where you decide what decisions you want to make. And you can then react on those decisions. And that's hypnotherapy. It's creating a situation, an environment, a time frame where the other person's mind, their deeper subconscious, goes to a specific state for a specific purpose. You have to understand, the human brain
Why
goes
is it
into...
called therapy in that instance? What makes it more effective than just doing it when I'm awake and conscious?
Because when you're awake and conscious, you've got this funny thing called the logic brain that's also awake. The logic brain is the critical brain. That's the one that tries to judge and measure everything. That's the one that is, see it as a security guard at the office front door.
Okay.
You want to get to work,
You have to get past.
but you didn't bring your ID. Is that security guard going to let you in?
No.
What's he going to do? He's going to block you the whole time. But you've got to be effective. You've got to be productive. You've got to make things happen. Can't come in. That's what the logic brain does. That's the analytical, the critical mind. Now, if you've got a problem to solve in the office, you can't solve it when you're outside the office. You need to get inside. Hypnotherapy is merely, well, let's take the security guard out the way. Let's go to where the problem is, fix it, and then we come out.
Have you heard someone place an argument around it that's religious?
Very often there's religious arguments, and I think everybody's got the right to their own religious conviction. There's been, so the typical thing that a lot of religions say is, I'm opening up a door for someone else to get into my brain and influence me, and you know, well, if you understand how hypnosis actually works, it doesn't work like that. It does not work. I cannot get into your brain. How weird would that be? You are the captain and the master of your own brain. It is your brain after all. It's the same argument where people don't realize that they actually go into that trance state often. Have you ever driven a long journey?
Yeah.
And then at some stage you realize you got no idea what happened the last hour. Yet you were driving that car. Where was your brain? La la land. You were in the same mental mind state that you go into when you go into hypnotic trance. It's not an unnatural thing. We do it naturally, but we do it by chance. Hypnotherapy is merely deciding it's going to happen now for a particular purpose. Normally when it happens is when we daydream. So what's the difference between a daydream and a hypnosis session? Easy. Hypnosis session is for a specific purpose. Daydream is for entertainment.
That could be a purpose too.
No, it's a good purpose
No,
sometimes.
it's good to daydream.
Daydreaming is good. Nothing wrong with it. So, and I love the religious people that I sometimes ask them also, because I mean, I've got a theology background. I'm formally qualified in theology. And I very often ask them, do you pray? And they say, yes. I say, do you pray deeply? Oh, yes. How deeply do you pray? Oh, brother, I go deep. Are you aware of the reality around you when you pray? No. I'm like sort of deep focused. I'm right there in direct contact with my Creator. Oh, that's wonderful, amazing. Do you know that there's people around you, buildings, sounds, everything? Nope. Oh, well, that sounds like a hypnotic trance to me. It's the same state the brain goes in. It can physically be measured.
Okay.
Scientifically, it can be measured. You can put electrodes on the brain and you can measure the Hertz wavelength.
So there are people that go into it during prayer.
During prayer, while you sleep, while you're watching TV, while you're driving, while you're sitting in a boring sales meeting.
And the last question on that as we close, because this has been insightful for me, I'm enjoying this. Am I right to say that NLP or these hypnotic trance and states are so powerful they are dangerous? And why I'm going there would be, you've seen on TV people eat grass because there's a preacher that says this is good for you. They ate grass.
So here's my answer.
So they were influenced at some stage. What is going on there?
Can I use a good knife to prepare a phenomenal meal?
True, you can.
Can I use the same knife to kill someone?
Mm-hmm.
Is the knife the problem?
It's the user.
There's your answer. Anything in life, anything. Mm-hmm. You own a motor vehicle, right? Mm-hmm. What do you use it for?
Moving from A to B.
Do you know there's people that also use it to move from A to B, but they move drugs from A to B? But it's still a motor vehicle. Is the motor vehicle, should we now take cars off the road? Because people use it to smuggle drugs?
So your advice there would be you are less vulnerable if you know how the tool works.
You need to firstly realize that you can operate from a space of authenticity, number one. So ethical trainers will judge and measure who they're teaching. If someone comes into my class, and I had it before, I had a guy that came into the class and he said, I'm a con artist, this is what I do. Teach me. I said, no, there's the door, that's what you're going to do. So we've got the right to decide if we're going to teach someone or not, number one. Number two, understanding, knowledge and awareness is the greatest gift you can give yourself because it's true empowerment. There are people in this world that gets manipulated. There are people in this world that gets influenced by others on a grand scale.
Sure.
How do you know when you are getting influenced? Well, you need to understand the language of influence. If you understand the language of influence,
then you have detectors and filters.
There we go. Then you can recognize, then you can decide, am I going to allow this or not? I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. And I hope you have received your answers too. Thank you for joining us and hanging with us till this time. Remember to do the YouTube things, that share, subscribe, like. Let us know in the comments what questions you have about this episode. And any questions you have, we will bring Coach back sometime to come and answer. Thank you.
Thank you.